Welcome to another episode of AWS On Air, our weekly show where we talk about some of the latest and greatest things coming out of AWS, right from the people who built them. I'm your host, one of your hosts today, Todd Fortier. I'm a senior solutions architect here at AWS, where I focus on developing solutions for the AWS Solutions Library. And if you've never heard about the AWS Solutions Library, you can go to aws.amazon.com/solutions and check it out. But more importantly, that I am also joined by my co-host, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine.
Hi, Todd. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Feeling good?
I'm
You
good.
nailed that intro.
Thanks. I've done it a few times. You know what I realized coming into this show, though? I realized I have one AWS shirt, and I wear it
Yeah.
almost every episode. And I'm starting to think I need to update. I got my I'm coming from Pittsburgh, the PGH Amazon shirt. I think I need to get a few more Amazon shirts. But you'll also maybe people, if they've seen me host before, I'm not wearing my AWS hat. I decided to go free flow today.
Yeah. I did not know that was the acronym for Pittsburgh.
PGH?
Oh. Yeah. I learned
Yeah.
something new every day.
To be honest with you, I didn't know it either until I moved here. I'm not from here, so it
Okay.
wasn't until I went to the Amazon office and they said, "Hey, here's your PGH shirt," and I was like, "PGH shirt? What?"
Yeah.
But now
I
I
heard that
now
they're known for hot dogs. Not quite sure.
that's what they say. That's what some people say. There's still a debate over how famous the hot dogs really are.
That's awesome.
Where are you
Well,
from?
I'm Jasmine. I work with our AWS partners here at AWS, and I am in Austin, Texas. So I'm broadcasting from sunny and warm Austin. We just hit our first 100-degree day yesterday, which is an accomplishment because that usually could happen a lot earlier. So happy that it's happening later. Where are you joining from? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to see where you're joining from. Maybe we'll pull up some of your comments on this screen. As we said, this is a live show, so everything that you'll see, including our bloopers, it's real.
That's right. That's right. And I want to give a special welcome to our Canadian friends. I understand that we are featured in Canada today, and I just want to say that my heart breaks for all of Canada. I watched the Game 7 of the Edmonton Oilers play against the Florida Panthers, and the whole time, in all honesty, I was rooting for Edmonton. I wanted Canada to bring the cup back. It just didn't happen, and my heart goes out to all our Canadian friends. So if you watch that game, you have some thoughts about it, I want to hear about it in the comment section for sure.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sure our producer Nick has some comments, but this is the AWS On Air show. We've got other shows that we do on this channel. Jasmine, what are some of the other shows that we like to do here?
We have Under the Hood with Art Baudo. So Art goes through all of this different architecture and kind of gets you under the hood and with the service teams and telling you how they built this. They had a really cool episode this past week that you can go back and watch here on our channel. We got to hear how they are working with the Mac OS and bringing that into the AWS console. We also have Startups with Jillian. We have AWS Game Day with AM, Lockdown with Kyle, which goes through security. We have Data Dive, which takes you on all of the data information. And we also have Sports with Nick, who we like sometimes.
Sports with Nick. Lockdown. I always want to say that one really aggressively, like lockdown, like really get into it. Like we got to get Kyle on here to give us some pointers on how to really put some oomph into some of the show announcements. But Jasmine, what are we talking about today? I'm excited to get into today's episode. There's a service that I've interacted with a little bit, and I'm learning more and more about it as AI and ML becomes the dominant topic of conversation. What are we getting into today?
We're going to talk a little bit about foundation models and how to control which models are discovered and used across your organization. So I'm very excited to talk to that team there that works on the new features that are coming out.
I think that's good timing. I think should we just bring in our guests and get right into it?
Yep.
Let's do it. Hello and
Welcome.
welcome to the show,
Hi.
June and Bhaskar. How are you guys doing?
Well,
Great.
thanks for inviting us. Doing great.
Yeah,
Doing
we're
awesome.
excited to get into this demo today. June, maybe we can start off by maybe introducing yourself, and then we'll have Bhaskar, and then we'll talk a little bit about our segment today.
Yeah, sure. My name is June. I'm a senior product manager from SageMaker Jumpstart team. And here today, I also have my cat Sunny sitting here. She might move around, so um, I just wanted to let you know about that. Bhaskar, do you want to go?
Yeah. Hey everyone. I'm Bhaskar Pratap. I'm senior engineer on the Amazon SageMaker team. I was the lead on this project that we are going to show it to you today.
So, June, I understand that Sunny is actually going to be doing the demo today. He's going to walk us through the different. He's certified solution architect professional, is what I was told before the show.
Well, let's look at her mood. She's looking at that way, so I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. But someday,
Certified in bird watching is probably more like it.
yes.
That's awesome.
Okay,
I was hoping that she would make an appearance because I know last year when we had you here, June, she definitely did. And she walked across the screen and we got lots of fun things in the comments. So I'm excited to see that Sunny is back. But what have you been up to since last year in SageMaker?
Yeah, so just like last time, we've been working very hard to make sure that we provide latest technologies to our customers in the Gen AI space. I believe last time when we come up here, we talked about the Llama launches that we had before. Um, and just before we go into deeper, I just want to make sure that we cover what is SageMaker first and then Jumpstart, and then kind of go into what type of problem that we have been kind of facing over the last couple quarters. So first of all, SageMaker is a fully managed machine learning service within AWS. And with SageMaker, data scientists as well as ML engineers can quickly build and train or deploy machine learning models, including Gen AI models, in a production-ready hosted environments. And customers can also customize and control training and hosting environments to the point where they can actually fine-tune the environment in case they want to customize anything. And Jumpstart specifically is a feature within SageMaker that provides customers with wide range of foundation models, whether it's text generation or image generations, that are easily trainable and deployable inside SageMaker. So with models in the Jumpstart, customers don't need to download from third-party website or modify it so that it works with the SageMaker. We did all of that for the customers. They can just come to SageMaker Jumpstart UI or API and start training or start deploying and start playing with the model. So that's a bit of a background of our feature. Now, over the last year or so, we've seen a lot of new models coming out from different providers and companies. And what we noticed is that the models are released daily and weekly, and they all come with different characteristics. And that includes different sizes, different type of licensing agreements, and different type of quality. And we heard from a lot of enterprise admins that they want more control over what models that are discoverable and useful by their internal organizations. And for example, some organizations told us that they only want to let users use, let's say, smaller models because they don't want to focus on large models. Some organizations have told us that they want to only surface specific license type, let's say open source license type, to be usable and discoverable by their internal organizations. And since every organization have different criteria and unique processes, we wanted to make sure that we provide a way for admins to control what models are being surfaced to the customers. And by default, Jumpstart provides more than 700 models out of the box, and we wanted to make sure that admins can distill it down to the ones that they really care about for their organization. So that's kind of the context and problem space that we've been tackling over last quarter.
Yeah, that's really cool. SageMaker is one of those services at AWS that I was really appreciative when I first started using it, because when we first start talking about AI and ML, it can feel very daunting, like very data science heavy, and I'm smart, but I'm not that smart, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know where to start with this. And then I launched my first SageMaker instance. And then I used Jumpstart to quickly launch a model and then use one of the solutions from the library to connect it. And right off the bat, I was using AI and ML. So Jumpstart is one of those really cool services. I'm excited to see it. But do we have a demo for today? Should we bring in the demo and just jump right into what we're talking about?
Yeah. Sounds awesome. Let's get to that. The screen is up. Hope you can see my screen now. So what I have here is you already can see in the studio that we see, like, you have all the 700 models, as June and Todd was speaking about. You have all this model here that enterprises and everyone in our org have this. But as June mentioned, that we have hearing feedback from customers that you want to limit your users within the organization to specific criteria of models which are approved, maybe based on size or based on use case or license type. So what we have come out with kind of an hub experience where you can have your own organization hub, one or more hub within your account. And so for this demo, I'll go through two parts. One, I'll show the admin side of the demo, where an administrator in your organizations can go and set up an hub and share it with all the users. And then I'll come to the user experience as a data scientist or an ML engineer. You can come and how you can use this model and you get the exact same Jumpstart experience. So let me switch my tab a little. So I'm going to show this through a notebook experience where I have a notebook for an admin we can go through. So first, a quick call out: do update your SageMaker Python SDK before using it to get the new functionality in that you see. And I have just a boilerplate code there to set up all the things going. To keep things and notice that to set up this hub that we have come up with, you give it a name and a display name as you want to see it on your studio. And we have all the clients set up. Next, you can see we have one single utility where you defined a hub with the hub name that you have given. And once you create the hub, you can provide a description to it as someone browsing. Here we're supporting more than one hub. And you could have different hubs based on different use cases. For example, you could have a hub created just for experimental models that you want to expose to certain users in your org, that they have access to more models from the Jumpstart public hub. Or you can have one a production ready hub where models which are ready for production are belong to that. So you can have the description and your users will be able to see that description when they browse those hubs. So here, just a single utility, the hub.create, and it creates the hub for you. Here I can see I have given the name of organization hub and all the parameter that the response get written from the API. And obviously, as we do with create, you also have a describe to know what the hub you are creating. So you get all the detail. You have the hub ARN being, so it is RNable entity. So now you can control via IAM permissions. You have what permissions certain users in your account or other accounts have. So one key thing I want to call out here, that as part of the launch, we have also enabled cross-account sharing of this hub. So, and that's we are done via the AWS RAM, Resource Access Manager, where you can provide you can take your hub ARN and can set certain permissions. We have default permission to read and use, but you can also go and customize those permissions as you want your users in your organization to use it. You can share with one single account or your entire organizations. So this is one time setup step required, that you create a hub and you share it to many users as you need. Once this is done, you're ready to go, like your hub is there. Now it's come up on a kind of a daily process or kind of as process that you set up in your organization. You want to provide access to the incoming new models, that you go through your approval process within your organization and add it. So to go with that, how to discover those models from our Jumpstart.
Bhaskar, before you get into that, I just want to make sure I understand a few concepts as we get into this.
Sure.
So we're within a Jupyter notebook, and we're using you said the Python SDK, and we have to use the latest Python SDK because that supports the features that we're walking through. So I just want to double click on that. Make sure you're updating your SDK to get the latest features. But what we're creating is a hub, and a hub is just high level. Hub is a container that we create within our SageMaker instance. Could you just real quick, what's a hub high level?
Sure. Good question out there. So a hub is kind of a logical container that you create in your account. It comes within SageMaker within the SageMaker space. There's a logical container. Within it, you can have references to a model that you store, like from the public hub, or you can bring your own custom models or your notebooks even, and in future, more such entity types. So this will be a single place. One, you control permission to a hub, and your users in your hub, users in your account can get access to this hub or as many hubs you create for use case.
I get so
this kind
hub is an important thing because it's you said it's a container, that a mechanism by which we can control access. We don't have to do that one model at a time. We can kind of create this collection, and then just gives us more options to control who can use the models within that hub. Okay, I got it. That's cool.
Yeah, one thing to add is that previously there was a public kind of a hub that our team used to only manage, and that's like a world readable folder or hub where everybody can just access to. What the admins are doing here is that they're creating their own hub where they can actually control who get to see what's in there, and then what contents are actually in there. So you can think of it as you're creating more of a private folder, and you're creating like shortcuts to our model into those folder instead of letting your users go to our publicly available bucket.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we use some of the commands within the new SDK to create that hub. So now that we've got it created, Bhaskar, where are we going next?
Okay, so at this point we have the hub created, and as you feel, you have saved it within your same account or accounts within your organization, giving certain permission to the user. So the hub exists, and you have saved the hub. So now comes to like what models I'm adding, exposing to my users. So first question always comes to like, we have, as June was mentioning earlier, we have 700 plus models in our public hub from Jumpstart. And for that, we have provided a utility within the hub class called list SageMaker public hub models. And it has also supports and filter with a kind of extensive knowledge where you can give a simple filter string. You want meta models, which I'm showing an example here for, or you already know a model that you want for. So you give a specific model ID that you're looking for, you want to get a detail. Or maybe you're like going abroad here, like you want to just have a specific task type in mind and you want to get that task type, all the models related to this. So you can support all these models, just pass and filter value, and it will return. So for example, here I have meta models listed here. And at this point, this is all the name, but I have given a count at the end. We have almost 36 models from the meta. And so you get a list here, and once you're happy with the list, next what we have to make these models available in your hub. Like this is a listing was from a Jumpstart public hub. And now you add this model here. I am looping through, calling the utility hub create model reference. You pass the ARN that we got from the previous search and get it added. So I have once I ran it, you can see like all the 36 models got added. But in case you already know a specific model, you might do not want to go through the search and discovery process, since you already maybe knowing might be already using it. So you can go ahead and directly call the create model reference API with the specific hub and with the model name at the end. And we can see that this added the model reference in the hub that I named in this demo as an organization hub. So this is all there. Now models is there. Next steps I'm going to just show you that models are there. So obviously we have this list models utility on your hub. This will list all the models that's there in a hub. Just key thing to notice here, these are references, which means any updates that we as a Jumpstart or SageMaker does on the models as a new version, patch those versions, they get automatically available in your hub. Like no additional stuff, any step required from the admin side. So if there are any patching, security vulnerability getting patched with the new versions of this models getting available, you get it automatically. There's no operational load or maintenance load required on your side once you add these models. And obviously we have the cleanup steps. You can delete the model references or describe the model or delete the hub itself as you want, like as you go through the process, which we have all present in the utility. So this is quickly going on the admin side of the experience, but I'd like to take a pause here and I'd like to see if June has anything to add before I jump to the user side of the thing.
So we do have a question, because this is a live show. One of our users is making me a little hungry. User named Fried Collie asked, number one, is SageMaker a no-code tool? And number two, is it available for free?
Good question. So first of all, SageMaker offers different type of tools, and there are low-code, no-code toolings. At the same time, we also offer API-based codings. So depending on what your preference is, there are different options. For example, within the SageMaker, there's a tool called Canvas, which is fully UI-based tools. But then there's a SageMaker Studio as well as Python SDK, which is more for what we call high code customer who wants to use the APIs. So I hope that helps answer that question. And the second one is this available for free? The SageMaker is not free. For each kind of a compute that you decide to use, there's a different pricing on top of it. So yeah, I hope that also answers the question.
Cool. Thanks, June.
Thanks, June. I'll move to the user side of things. So your admin has created the hub and shared with you, and now what it looks for you, like you aren't, and one of the question was low code, no code questions. So we have an option here, like you can, as June is describing, like you have this awesome SageMaker Studio where it's almost one click you get experience for. So this is the what I'm saying on the screen is the SageMaker public hub, which has all the models that Jumpstart is offering. But as you get shared, your admins create and hub and shares with you, you get represented with different screens. So you have two tiles now. The tool that first tile shows all the public model Jumpstart SageMaker is offering, and other is the organization hub that we just saw in the last admin side of things. We created an organization hub, and likely admin might also disable access to yours for all the public models at the use case B if you're not on the experimental side of things in your organization. So you will directly jump to the organization hub where you will see I have listed the 36 models from Meta and one that I added manually. So you'd see total of 37 models. And as I browse through it, you can see all the frameworks ordered. You can use the filter. And if I type in code, maybe like from the 37 we have, you're interested in code-dated models as in to support coding kind of thing, use cases. So you get the same experience Jumpstart. And if I click through one of these tiles, you see all the details about these models, what inputs once it's deployed, how to interact with the model and use cases, training data, license types, and everything is presented on the screen. Here on the right side of the screen, you can see the ARN of this model from the hub it is coming from. So you can see here you have organization hub and that it is a reference type and the hub details and everything is coming from. So, and you have sample notebooks presented here. You can see if I want to use this model and if you not want to, once model is deployed, you can see all this, how to use this model, basically how to deploy the model if you're still interested in notebook code, the code side of things. And different input and parameters and performance related details are presented in this sample notebook that code comes along. But key thing here is like you get a one-click deploy experience. So you deploy it and just confirm on the next screen, you accept the EULA that comes with the meta models, Llama series of model, and you accept that. And if you're happy with the default that is presented on the screen, go ahead and click deploy at the end of the screen. And this will create an SageMaker endpoint for you, and it's up and ready. You can start interacting with that endpoint, present with the questions or coding questions to the coding model, and that's the simplest experience you get. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think it gets much simpler than that. We're in SageMaker. You've launched a SageMaker domain in your account. We know that SageMaker has a number of other services, but we're working in Jumpstart, and we created this hub that limited the models. And as you were walking through this, I started to see some of those attributes that June pointed out earlier of some of those things that we might want to filter on. Like there was a license agreement that you had to accept. That's the EULA you said. So there may be different licensing requirements that would dictate creating a hub and separating these out. Different sizes. I see a ton of different models. Presumably each one of these models, I can see that they're tagged based on what their intent maybe is to do. Like, for example, I see a lot of text generation, but I understand we have models for, images or coding assistance. There are different models trained for different things. And so we can start to create these hubs and organize them and categorize them based on what their use is. And presumably the sizes of the models would also dictate maybe some of the pricing and what you're able to do with that. So I can think of a ton of reasons why we would want to start to create these collections. But yeah, so but and what I think is really cool about this too is it also gives me the code and gives me a bunch of information about the model. I've tried out a few models and I didn't, like I said earlier, I didn't have to have a bunch of like training. I just was able, I clicked deploy and all of a sudden now I'm testing some AI stuff. So that's really cool. Now, if we wanted to customize this model, is that something that we could do and then launch a custom model into our hub?
That's a great question. So normally, yes, customers can do fine tuning and customization using their own data. But the models that we have, the models that are added to the private hub currently are not fine tunable. So that's something that we're actively working on, and that will be released as a fast follow. But as of now, customers can only deploy and start inferencing on the models.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious as we wrap this up here. We're coming up to the end of our time. This has been a really awesome demo. But June, I'm always going to ask, where is it that you want people to go and find more information? And then also tell us who this feature is for. You know, we talk about the admins, but what type of organizations would really benefit from leveraging this?
Yeah. So for your first questions, there's a product detail page for the Jumpstart. So if you just type AWS SageMaker Jumpstart, you'll see our product detail page. From there, there's a link to our guide and catalog of models that we offer. And to your second question, this is really for the enterprise admins that have specific requirements around what models are discoverable to their users. So a lot of customers that are in financial industry or any organizations that have relatively high kind of a security policies and whatnot, those admins have always been asking about this feature. So if you're working for financial institutes or any of those enterprises, I would highly recommend taking a look at this feature.
Yeah, great. Well, it was awesome to have you here. We do have another question here in the chat. We'll make sure that our friends here who are working in the background can get some of that answered. It looks like it's more general about foundation models and how it works with SageMaker. So we'll get that answered offline for you. But June, Bhaskar, this has been phenomenal. Thanks for being here. We want to thank Sunny as well. Um,
Great job,
but
son.
congrats on your launch.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for
Hey,
having
thanks,
us. Thank you.
All right. That was a good one, Todd. I was into it. I could have gone all day and asked way more questions.
SageMaker just keeps making it easier and easier to manage and to use AI and ML to get started quickly. And I'm always impressed with the new features that it comes out with, because it always seems it's like at some point I'm barely just gonna have to click a button and it's just I'm like gonna be an AI ML expert.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So, Jasmine, I know every week we bring up one very specific thing that I am on a quest, a goal, a personal quest to hit a record. And that record is regarding the survey. I'm trying to get as many people to do this survey as possible. And each week I want to set a new like personal record. I need to get some metrics. We need to start tracking this from our producer, Nick. Maybe you can drop a line of what's the most we've ever had. And I want to beat that every week. So we have a survey. And that survey, for the first 50 people, I believe, get a $10 credit. And we want to know what you think about the show, about the content. If you have ideas for stuff you want to see, what do you think about the host? And should I add more guitars to the background? You know, those kinds of things. I want to know about them. So please fill out the survey, get $10 in AWS credits, and let's break a record.
Yeah.
Nick, let's get some Nick. What about it? Oh, yeah. He says, take a chill pill.
What about a
I gotta
chill
get this
pill?
one hung.
Your
Right
chill
there,
pill.
maybe.
Yeah.
You can't read it. You can't read the chill part of it. But yeah, let's get active in this comment section. I think it's a little bit quiet. I want to hear some more questions, and I want to get as many people to do this survey. Wow, Jumpstart seems really cool. It is very cool. If you haven't tried it out, check it out for sure.
It
All right,
is. What
Jasmine.
I really love about Jumpstart also is that you can go and see some of the customer stories and what our customers are building, and hopefully it'll spark some ideas for folks. So read the blogs, check out the links in the chat, check out that 2-minute survey. But Todd, I think it's time for something else.
What do we got next here? I think we've got some sponsor. We got a sponsor every week, and I I think should we bring him on?
Yeah, we do. We have NVIDIA coming on to talk about some inference server updates.
NVIDIA, let's do it.
Hey everyone, this is AWS On Air, a weekly show that we do every single Friday, and we've got a really exciting segment for you here. If you do vehicle routing and it's maybe very manual and you're looking ways to be able to improve the speed and accuracy, well, we've got a really exciting topic on that with the folks from NVIDIA. Moon and Adi are here to be able to share some really cool things that NVIDIA is doing on this very problem. So let's start with merely talking about what vehicle routing is. So, Moon, how would you describe to someone who's new to this use case of what vehicle routing is?
Of course. So vehicle routing, anything that the vehicle is navigating through the traffic, accident, weather changes, that can be vehicle routing. So, for example, one good example is I order pizza from whatever local pizza house, and nobody wants to have a cold pizza when it's delivered, right? So we will help that local pizza house to have the best routing by saying, hey, pick up the cheese pizza and the pepperoni pizza for Adi, and drop by Moon's place, and then deliver one pizza at her house, and then on the way, next stop is going to be Adi's house, and then you drop something else. So without having to make it back and forth to the pizza house. So that's the easiest way I can describe what vehicle routing is.
Well, I love that use case. I mean, it's something that everyone can really relate to every single day. But it sounds what's really cool is that there's a lot of other use cases aside from if you're ordering food. So Adi, maybe you can unpack some of the other use cases for vehicle routing that are out there.
Sure. So there are different use cases for vehicle routing problems. The main one that Moon just talked about is last mile delivery, which includes delivering orders from a certain warehouse or distribution center to different locations. Another use case is pickup and delivery. So a food delivery driver, somewhat similarly to the pizza, maybe like going to one restaurant to pick up an order, then going to a customer's location to drop it off. So then each driver's route would be like half of them would be pickup locations, like the different restaurants, and then the second half would be drop-off locations. And Another popular use case is dispatch optimization. So this could be some service providers who have to go to customers' homes to install something or deliver some maintenance service.
Wow, these are really, just fundamental use cases, I would say, to things that we do in our everyday lives, or at least experience in our everyday lives. And I can imagine that it must be fine if you're just doing it on spreadsheets if you just have one customer. But once you have hundreds, thousands, that's where you need something that's really automated and scalable. So let's kind of talk about how cuOpt can be able to help with that. So Moon, when you're talking to people, how would you describe what cuOpt is from NVIDIA?
Sure. So NVIDIA cuOpt is a world record GPU accelerated optimization AI microservice. So it's a long description. So let me break it down and then kind of walk you through what each means. So cuOpt uses GPU accelerated logistics solvers relying on heuristics, meta heuristics, and optimizations to calculate complex vehicle routing problems with a wide range of constraints. So when I say constraints, it could be distance, it could be climate change like traffic and all that. Also something like the lunch break for the driver and so on. So a lot of them can be constraints. With the support for the distance and time metrics with asymmetric patterns, cuOpt can be seamlessly integrated with popular map engines and deployed in any data center or cloud.
Wow. So now that people are able to deliver this, be able to use this in AWS, make it a lot faster, scalable. I think that's really exciting. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering when you said earlier world record breaking. I'm even means. Maybe you can break that down for us, Moon.
So from historical and engineering perspective, in 2021, we released the first version of NVIDIA cuOpt. So it was a GPU accelerated operations optimization engine with a focus on the speed to solution. So that really unlocked the new use cases for operations optimization, and for the first time gave the users the ability to leverage the dynamic nature of real world data and the power of exploration through simulation. In March earlier this year at GTC, we went a step further. So NVIDIA's cuOpt holds all of the world records, like 23 of them, were achieved in the last 3 years and the largest instances of the Gehring and Homburger and Lee and Lim benchmarks. What's really cool about this improvement is that rather than improving the previous routes, cuOpt really explored the new regions of the search space to find the feasible routes that were previously unknown. So the solver combined the GPU parallel computing with the new techniques inspired by the natural systems to quickly identify the most promising solutions in the search space. So, for the first time, decision-making is available with the world's best accuracy in record time.
That is fantastic. I'm sure a lot of people would want to be able to see this. So maybe, Adi, could you walk us through what a demo is of once the folks use NVIDIA AI Enterprise? That is a prerequisite, which you can use on the AWS Marketplace. So once they sign up for that, then they can start using cuOpt and they can go through the steps that you're about to show us.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll show you 2 things. The first one is a very easy way to access cuOpt, which is on the NVIDIA API catalog. So you can access that cuOpt demo in your browser. You don't even need NVIDIA AI Enterprise licensing. You just need your laptop and some connection to the internet.
How exciting.
And then after that, we'll look at how to deploy cuOpt on AWS. So I'll share my screen. And here I'm just going to share a YouTube video doing a live demo felt.
But it's not just any YouTube video. You're talking over it. You're giving us the in-person commentary.
Oh, yeah. So, all right, let's get started. The first demo, like I said, is on NVIDIA API catalog. So you can access this by going to build.nvidia.com and just searching for cuOpt in the search bar. So in this demo, we have 3 use cases. Like I said, we have last mile delivery, pickup and delivery, and dispatch optimization. Right now, I'll just talk about last mile delivery. So let's, again, talk about the example of pizza delivery. So the input data would consist of 3 data sets. We have orders, vehicle, and depot data sets, as well as the cost matrix. We'll touch upon that in a second. But the orders would basically be the pizza orders, right? So one of the orders would be my order. Another order could be Moon's, and so on. So in this data set, we have the locations of the orders, as well as, I'll go back, as well as the demand. This could be like order weight or order volume. Order start and end time, that indicates when it's appropriate to deliver that order. Because if I'm ordering pizza at 5 p.m., I don't want to get my pizza at midnight. Like, that's too late. So that way we can show some delivery window of when the driver can deliver my pizza. Then we have the depot data set. This also includes the location and operating hours. This would just be the pizza restaurants, like where all of the orders and vehicles depart from at the end of the day and return to depart from in the beginning of the day and return to at the end.
I've got one quick question here just for the folks who are joining us, because these data sets that I hear in this example, they're all very nice, perfectly clean, and we all know that real data in the wild usually is pretty messy. So before the folks joining us are actually start using NVIDIA cuOpt, should they do their own prep work of cleaning up the data and then inputting it into NVIDIA cuOpt?
Yeah, that's a good question. So this is the raw input data. This is something the user would have to provide on their own. This is whatever data you collect for your industry and your use case. So you would have these sample data, you would have these data sets, then you would have to do some data pre-processing. We show the data pre-processing to the left underneath task data and fleet data. If you can see these two JSON files, this is the data after it's been pre-processed. So we take our raw data, we do some data pre-processing, we save it to a JSON file. And then basically when we use cuOpt, we make an API call where we send this data to cuOpt, and then in return cuOpt, the cuOpt output includes the optimized routes. So let me fast forward here a bit. We have the orders, we have the vehicles. So in this example, we have different vehicle types as well as different carrying capacities. So then let me just fast forward. We call in cuOpt. It's pretty easy. It's just an API call where we send the data over to cuOpt. We can also play around with the solver time limit, like how long we want to let cuOpt run for. And then we can look at the output. So we can see here that cuOpt found a solution using 9 vehicles. So in the raw input data, we have 10 vehicles. So by default, cuOpt minimizes the number of vehicles used in the solution. So we can see that not all vehicles are necessary to deliver all of these orders. So because of that, cuOpt isn't going to use all of them. And then we can also look at the routes per vehicle. So for example, vehicle 7 goes from its depot to order 62, then to order 74, and so on until it returns to its depot. And then something else we've included in this demo is a mapping visualization. So here you can print the routes on a map. So this is the route for vehicle 1, then we can look at the route for vehicle 2 on a map. So next, let's take a look at how to use cuOpt on AWS. So for this, you need to have an NVIDIA AI Enterprise subscription. Information for that will be linked below. However, you can get a free trial for NVIDIA AI Enterprise. You can get a free trial for 90 days. So once you get your NVIDIA AI Enterprise license, you can go to AWS, go to Marketplace, and then look for NVIDIA AI Enterprise. For me, I already have my NVIDIA AI Enterprise subscription, so it just pops up here. So I'll click on that, and then I'll go to launch new instance with this NVIDIA AI Enterprise licensing. Here I just go through hardware and system configuration, and then I launch my instance. So now after my instance has been successfully launched, I can connect to it.
I just want to call out from what you just quickly showed, you intentionally selected the P5 instance. So it sounds like you'd recommend for those who are using cuOpt in AWS that they would use the P5 instance.
Yeah.
Or the P4D I saw as well,
cuOpt
right?
is more optimized for some GPUs over others.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make sure you use the correct hardware for cuOpt.
Got it. All right.
Yeah. So in here, I open my terminal. I connect it to my VM. And the first thing that I do is that I log in to the to nvcr.io. That's the NVIDIA container registry. So I log in, then I save the cuOpt container tag as an environment variable. So cuOpt image is just the nvcr.io/nvidia/cuOpt, and then the version of cuOpt that I want to run. And then I simply pull the container. So this usually takes a couple of minutes, so just fast forward in this video. And then, ooh, that was quick. Let me go back. Okay, and then I just run the container. So I just do docker run and then the container that I pulled using the cuOpt image variable. So here co-opt is already running based on this output. Looks good to me. So then I open another terminal window. I connect to the same VM, and now I can make a sample API call. So here I have my curl command. So I connect to the local co-opt service that I have set up. I have some sample data. I send that all over to co-opt. And if you can see the last two lines in this terminal, we have the solver response, which basically includes the optimized routes that co-opt has returned. And
Wow.
like I said, you can go to the NVIDIA API catalog. You can do it right now if you want, and look at the demo yourself.
I think that's really exciting. It showed just really how simple it was to be able to get started, way better than doing things manually. So where is it that people can go if they want to get started with co-opt, and any events that are coming up where they can meet some of the folks at NVIDIA?
So there's going to be a conference called Informs in October 21st. Yeah, in Seattle. So there's going to be usually, last year there were, 6,000 people, 800 sessions, and the presentation from over 100 organizations. And we will have several of our engineers from NVIDIA who will have an in-person session there to talk more about the, new feature that we are going to launch at the end of the year. So stay tuned.
Really exciting. And I heard that you're going to be at the AWS Summit in New York City. So if you're going to the Javits Center July 10th, check them out. I know they've got a booth there, which is super exciting. Adi, Moon, I'm really excited for the folks here to get started not having to do things manually anymore with their vehicle routing. Thank you so much for being here on AWS On Air.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
And stick around, everyone, because we've got more coming up on this episode of AWS On Air.
Todd,
sorry,
you trying to pick it up on the boy bands?
Well, I take time in between segments to practice my boy band covers. I'm working on a concept album, metal. I'm going to go full metal boy band covers.
Okay,
Starting
I
with
like it.
MMMBop. Anybody remember that song, Bop?
Yep,
It's a
Hanson.
classic. It's a classic.
Do you know
I'm gonna
any
grow my
Village
hair out.
People songs?
Besides YMCA, that's the only one. Is there any other songs by the Village People?
I would assume, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm big on the YMCA. Macho Man is what they're telling us. I forgot that was by them. That's a
Yeah, that
good one.
doesn't describe me at all.
Yeah, those are the not yes, and it doesn't describe it. Like I forget that was them. Wow, that's good. I really like that message, and I'm excited to hear more about the NVIDIA conference that's coming up in October as it gets closer.
Yeah, the NVIDIA conference and the New York Summit, of which I will be at. Jasmine, are you going to be at the New York Summit?
I will be at the New York Summit.
All right. So we can, if folks are watching, let's just stop by and introduce themselves. I'd love to meet some of the folks that watch this show.
Yeah,
Sure.
it is not too late to get registered. You can get registered and meet us there. We are little less than 2 weeks out. That's going to be on Wednesday, July the 10th. And then if you are not able to join us in person, make sure you're watching AWS on air because we will be live streaming all day on our show. And then you'll also be able to get to watch the keynote.
And the live streams of the events are great. I watched some of the sessions from Reinforce. Jasmine, you did an amazing job at Reinforce. I was really impressed with how just everybody was on. It was funny. It was engaging. So the New York Summit, I think, is going to be great.
Yeah, I love it. We get to have all of our teams come on. We have service teams come on, other folks who are making it happen at AWS. And so I'm really excited for the calendar of sessions that we have coming up for New York Summit. It is going to be a jam-packed day, and it's going to be so fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, I won't be hosting, but I may make an appearance. I may try just to sneak in and say hello to everybody because it is live, and I will prove that fact for sure. So what else we got today, Jasmine? I think we end our shows every week with a very special guest. Do you want to introduce who's up next?
Yep, the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Barr.
Jasmine, Todd, how y'all doing?
Oh,
I'm doing well.
We're excited that you're here.
You know, this is a great way to wrap up every week. Like every Thursday afternoon or evening, or sometimes Friday morning, I go through all of our launches and I pick the best ones and kind of get to figure out what's up. I was actually on vacation last week, but now I'm kind of like in sync with what's going on. So
that's right.
That was a good one there, Jeff.
If you were going to do it, I was going to do it. Pulls the.
All right, so what do you have for us? What's been going on?
Yeah, let's see. Okay, let's see. So the first is that Cloud Shell now supports VPC in a really cool way. So Cloud Shell is not new. It's from 2020. But the idea with Cloud Shell, it makes it really easy if you're in the console to get a shell prompt. There's like a little Cloud Shell icon up in the corner. You click it, and in a second or two, you get a shell prompt running on an EC2 instance. Nothing to install, nothing to configure. You don't have to fiddle around with keys, with security groups, credentials. You don't even have to install the AWS tools. So it's a super easy, wonderful feature that I hope a lot of our audience is already using. So we've got Cloud Shell, even older. So how old do you both think VPC is? Let's take a guess. Oh. Jasmine first. What year?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say 1996.
Definitely newer than that.
I didn't want to be wrong, so I was like, let me go way off.
Back then.
I'm going to go 2014.
Oh, well, let's average them out. So 2009. So not really the new kid on the block anymore. So the idea with VPC is you create your own private address space, and then you can run EC2 instances and a lot more inside of that space. You get this isolated network environment, and you can connect to your corporate network, lots and lots more. And when I look back on the history of AWS, I actually think VPC was one of those defining moments that took us from the original kind of open address space, and we'd assign from just within the AWS IP range to suddenly giving you control of the network in isolation. So I think the VPC was a really cool aspect of the maturity of AWS, if you will. But the cool thing is you can now use Cloud Shell and VPC together, and you can launch a Cloud Shell that runs inside of a VPC in any of your subnets, including a private subnet with no extra configuration. So it's a little unusual to use. I had to hunt a little tiny bit to find it, but you launch your first Cloud Shell, and then on the right side, there's an action menu. And then within that action menu, you can then create Cloud Shells inside of any of your VPCs. You do need to define the access level with a security group. Rather than that, there's no setup. And it's actually really, really cool, because especially if you have a private subnet, you can't by definition connect to stuff into there. You can't SSH into it. But maybe you want to be like sitting inside that private subnet and test what you can and can't do network-wise, for example. So you want to test your security, test your network routing. I launched a Cloud Shell inside one of my subnets, and then I made sure, for example, I couldn't even reach the S3 public endpoints because the security group I used didn't allow me to get outside of my private subnet. So I think that's super, super, super cool. We'll drop a link to the what's new for that one. The next one, kind of simple, but I think pretty good. We did a nice clean update to the Amazon Linux AMI. This is it's called AL 2023 is the official one. We updated PHP, we updated .NET, we updated Go. We updated this thing called the IPA client, and it's not an alcoholic beverage. It's identity, policy, and audit. So not as tasty, but maybe more useful. And again, we'll drop a what's new link in there. Now, the last one is another new large language model. This one is called Jamba Instruct, and it sounds really neat. I had to do a little bit of digging and didn't find as much documentation from AI Labs as I would like to find, but hopefully they'll put some more cool stuff on there. But the idea here is it's designed for instruction following. It understands context and subtext, and it can complete many tasks based on natural language instructions. So you can give it a fairly complex multi-step problem. And so it can break down the problem, it can gather all the relevant information, and it can give you some structured output. One awesome feature of this is it has a very large context window, 256,000 tokens. That's a whole lot of tokens. That's equivalent to an 800-page novel or like a year's worth of financial filings for a big company. So this means it can digest something very, very complex and then answer questions and summarize that. One neat feature that I saw, you can do what's called query augmentation, and you can give it an initial prompt, and you can say, please give me some related prompts or augment this prompt, or just vary it around a little bit. So it seems really, really cool. And again, we'll drop a link to the what's new. That's just about all I've got for today. As always, we love it when people read the news blog, subscribe to the feed for the blog, and then I do try to post AWS goodies a couple times a week on my LinkedIn. So always great if people connect and or follow me there. I know Todd's a big fan, and always great to see him reading there. That's what I got. It's Friday afternoon here in Seattle. It's kind of sunny. It's supposed to be warm and clear. So looking forward to getting outside.
Yeah. Is it 98 degrees?
Definitely not. No, it is about kind of 70 actually. Let's see. It's
Oh,
71
that's good weather.
inside, low humidity, and quite nice.
Yeah, that is
Air quality
nice.
index is good. I actually have a little air quality index on my desk. The temperature, the humidity is low. The volatile hydrocarbons in the air are awesome. The particulate matter is low. All good.
Wow. You said IPA, and now I just like kind of want a beer. It's like getting to be end of the day on the East Coast for me. So I want it that way, you know.
I actually was going to grab a Corona more than an IPA. That lemony flavored IPA has never quite worked for me.
Yeah. Well, I love that. It doesn't sound like we're all going in one direction this weekend. So,
definitely not.
You know.
But you know what goes great with Mexican food, right? With Mexican beer.
Oh yeah, we got to have lime in there.
This awesome dish that's made from tripe. You guys know that?
No, I don't know.
It's called menudo.
Menudo, yeah, that's a good food after you've had a long night out. It fills you up, brings you back to life.
Yeah, it's actually it's kind of deeply enmeshed in my wife's culture, and it's delicious to eat, but cooking it is nasty. Let me tell you. Yeah, you can be outside the house and know that it's being cooked.
I just like the finished product.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes the product is better than the process.
Yeah,
that's true. I've rushed to get. I put a whole chicken in the slow cooker before I came on to this show. So that's what I'm looking forward to eating. It's so easy to throw just a piece of chicken. Now we're talking about food. We're talking about beer. I'm like it's getting bad. I think before I like pass out here from hunger and thirst, we should mention one more time the survey, of which the person responsible for that survey is going to join us quickly here. So if you would like, take our survey. I'm shooting for a personal record. I still haven't gotten those numbers from Nick, but when he comes on, I'm going to press him. Yeah. What's our record? What are we shooting for? But go ahead and fill out the survey. The first 50 people get $10 in AWS credits, and we want to know exactly what you think about the show, what topics you want to hear about more. I feel like I've been talking about generative AI. Maybe there's something within generative AI you want to hear. I definitely want to do that. Do you read the goodies blog? I know I do. We want to know that kind of stuff. So fill out the survey and get $10 in AWS credits. And should we bring on our final guest and just peg him with survey questions?
Let's do
it. Absolutely.
Hey, Todd, did you even notice I got my job description on my shirt today?
Old man yells at cloud.
That's good. I didn't notice that.
That's pretty perfect. Oh no, yeah. I just ruined it.
Oh, three good-looking
people and Nick.
Well,
gosh dang it. Jeff, that is the best shirt you've had on here. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Well, yeah, the survey, guys. I don't know about you, Todd, Jeff, and Jasmine, but when I wake up on Friday mornings, ever since I left school, I'm like, man, do I miss taking multiple choice tests? You know? And I also think like, man, I wish I could send somebody that I don't know my unfiltered opinion and that they have to read it as part of their job. And
that is part of my job, actually.
yeah, like luckily for our viewers, okay, I've listened to that. I understand you and that problem, you know, that very relatable problem of missing multiple choice tests. So we created that survey. So you guys should definitely take it. I think our record is, it's not the best. It's like 64 responses, I think, for one of these weekly shows.
We can
So, I
beat
mean,
that.
I think we can get there.
That's
I
not
really
bad. You
do.
could at least get to your 50 and give away all those AWS credits so people can go in and
That's
build
what I'm
something
saying.
fun.
Like, get some free stuff, people. And while you're at it, like, yell at me a little bit or compliment me. That would also, you know, kind of be nice. But let us know what you think of the show. We do read it.
I'm putting a whiteboard behind my thing. I'm writing 64, and every week we're gonna push to get more and more survey. It's gonna be a worldwide phenomenon by the time we're
dang
done
right.
this year.
We're gonna get like 700 every Friday by the end of it. I think that like it's very realistic. I think that's not overestimating at all how much people love taking surveys. But
Yeah,
you guys definitely should.
I love the survey because, you know, they give us the BTS, what's happening, you know, behind the scenes that you want to see.
Yeah, like they tell us all the time, less Todd. And I'm like, I mean,
it's in
I'm
his
trying,
contract,
guys. I'm trying, you know. But no, but you guys also mentioned something even better is the New York Summit coming up, right? It's coming up. Let's drop the link in there. Our other producers backstage. Coming up the second week of July in New York. That's why it's called that. We were just in Philly. I mean, I don't want to like start any trash talk between the two cities, but Reinforce was in Philly. We had a pretty good turnout. So I don't know, New York. I don't know if you guys think you can match Philly's energy. I don't know if there's any like animosity between those two cities, but you know, I'm thinking New York is pretty cool. What was that, Jeff?
Philly's my hometown, so careful where you go there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's true. I see on AWS.
Yeah.
I think the big thing we were debating while we were in Philly is what's better, like a solid Philly cheesesteak or a New York hot dog, you know? So we figured we had to go sandwiches.
Oh.
I know. I love myself a good hot dog. Maybe that's just me. And Pittsburgh.
Made from Nick's goat meat or Todd? How are those goats going, Todd, by the way?
Which ones of you guys are going to be in New York again? Todd, you're going to be there, right?
I'm going to be there, but I'm not going to be on air. And Jeff, to answer your question, I don't know how our goats are doing because they are off in a corner of the property that I don't see them regularly. So I'm fairly certain they're out there still just eating away the weeds, which is their job.
Oh, yeah, I know. For our viewers, Todd has an awesome little goat farm in his backyard.
We're trying to start a little farmstead here. We got some vegetables growing, some chickens, and some goats, and that's what I do on the weekends. I don't read survey results. I try to get my 1-year-old son to ride goats.
Nice. That would give me a big time rush.
Oh, but great one there, Jasmine. But yeah, Jasmine will be on air at AWS New York Summit. Todd will be trying to sneak in through security to crash the stage at New York Summit. So if you guys are there, come by and say hi. You know, stage is pretty big. You know, typically we turn some heads when you walk through the door. So come by and see us, have some fun. It's going to be pretty great. All right. I'll let you guys finish up the show. But yeah, just wanted to drop the survey, wanted to drop New York. It's going to be awesome. It ain't no lie. And with that, guys, bye.
Talk about hit and run.
That was a good one. That was a good outro, Nick. I'm a big fan of that.
It's not fair because he's the producer. He gets to control who's coming in and out. And, that's too much power for Nick to have, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for the New York Summit. Actually, fun fact, New York Summit last year was my first experience with AWS OnAir. I actually came on as a guest talking about the AWS Solutions Library. And then I loved it so much, had such a blast. And everybody was so nice. I was fortunate enough to host soon after that. And now I'm hooked.
Yeah.
It's fun, isn't it?
It totally took the shape of my heart.
It hooks you. Well, we've got AWS on-air shows throughout the week to get you hooked. We have shows almost every day happening, so subscribe here on Twitch so that you know when we are going live. We've got startups, game day, lockdown, sports, and so much more. So we hope that you'll subscribe and watch along with us throughout the week. You can also go back and watch some of our episodes. If there's a feature or a particular service that you're looking into, just give it a search here on our Twitch channel, and we've probably covered it.
That's it. Is that it? Should I carry us out with some a little bit of bap, bap, bap,
Nick, turn us off.